What's up, everybody? It's the Ginger Yeti, and I'm checking in from the road. Here today in Atlanta on a day off. Tomorrow's our show at the Coca-Cola Roxy, although by the time this video comes out, we'll have already played the show and be on to the next city. And it's time for me to get into a beer. So the beer I have for you today is another beer that I picked up at Blackburn Beer Company in Niagara Falls, Ontario, when I was there hanging out with Shane from Shane's Craft Beer Reviews, Paul and Ray from the Alkanauts, and Chris from Off the 10th. Went there to that brewery, and before I left, I had one of the bartenders pick out a bunch of beers for me, told him which ones I had already, so he wouldn't get me ones I've already had, and he picked out like 6 different beers from Blackburn, and this is one of them. So this is the Special Dry. Now, every time I hear dry, I always think of ask why, try Bud Dry, that old Bud Dry commercial. Wish I could get a hold of a can of that, but it's been out of production for a long time. But if I could find a can of that, it'd still be fun to try it. So like I said, this is a Special Dry by Blackburn Beer Company. Here's the can, and it kind of reminds me of I thought of like Sapporo or something when I first saw it. It's just this silver can, so Special Dry. And on the front it says bright, crisp, dry finish. And on the back here it says 3.9% ABV, 473 milliliter. Brewed by Blackburn, Niagara Falls, Ontario. Light beer, super dry lager. See if I can read this can here. It says Special Dry is a nod to the Japanese style of brewing, which is characteristic of lighter styles with a focus on excellence of ingredients, process, and technique. Our version is an exceptionally clean, crisp, and refreshing dry lager that tastes as special as the name suggests. Cheers to the tradition and innovation. Sounds pretty good to me. I can't remember the last time I had a beer that had any sort of like dry in the name, but it's kind of seems like a style that not very many breweries do at all. And again, like I referenced earlier, I remember dry beer being a big thing. Maybe it was like the late 80s, early 90s. I think it was before I was old enough to drink, but I can't quite remember anymore. But everybody had a dry beer out. And I just remember the why ask why, try Bud Dry. So I'm sure this is better than Bud Dry to begin with, and I'm excited to get into it. On Untapped, this gets a 3.61. There was only 20 check-ins. On Beer Advocate, there was no score. Pouring it into my iconic plastic cup here in this very swank Sheraton Suites here in Atlanta, not too far from the Brave Stadium. Get a nose on it. That is a very sweet, kind of corn adjuncty rice sweet smell, but not that weird cloying stomach bile kind of malt liquor smell you get. But it's a very adjuncty sweet smell. And color, that is super crystal clear. I mean, that's a clear yellow. Even in this bad hotel lighting, I can almost read my notes through it. I mean, I can see the TV pretty clearly. I can see my phone pretty clearly. Like, that is just super clear. About a ring finger's worth of white bubbly head, very compact, just white, almost mousse-like head. And I'm excited to try this. My mouth is dry. Hopefully this doesn't dry it out more. Cheers, everybody. It's not as light bodied as I would have expected. It's definitely light bodied, but it's creeping up on kind of that light to medium range. It can definitely tell it's a kind of a rice lager, or it tastes very similar to a rice lager. It's just got that rice grainy kind of flavor to it. It's kind of hard to describe that like kind of character rice gives to the beer. But it's kind of got that character, that flavor. There is a little bit of some sort of sweetness in there. It actually does finish very, very dry. I shouldn't say surprisingly or unexpectedly because it's called special dry, but it finishes super dry. And on the back of the can, it does say super dry lager, and they are not wrong there. They have nailed that bit perfectly. But this is a really easy drinking, flavorful overall beer. There is kind of almost a generic fruitiness that you can kind of pick up a little bit. It's not very strong, but it is there. It does kind of balance out that, like the kind of that ricey kind of lager flavor. And there is, like I said, a sweetness almost throughout, but the sweetness isn't very strong either. And it's not like a malt sweetness, but it's not like a artificial sweetness. I almost want to say it's kind of a fruity sweetness. Maybe that's where I'm getting like kind of a fruity flavor out of it. But again, it's not very strong. Overall, this is exactly what they say it is. I've never had a lot of dry beers, so I'm not super familiar with the style, but I would say they did a really good job with this one. And I would give this a big horns up. If you're looking for a flavorful, kind of a different style beer, a dry beer, it's a low ABV, so you could crush a lot of these. It's still got enough flavor that you wouldn't get tired of it. It's not like some of these other rice lagers that you're just like, this is terrible. Because I have had a few rice lagers and I'm just like, this tastes like rice water. This is actually really good. So if you're looking for something a little lower in the ABV, still has a good flavor to it, kind of light bodied, but still has a little bit of body to it, just like this would be the perfect beer for you. If you ever get to Blackburn Beer Company, definitely pick up one of the Blackburn Special Dries. It's worth trying. It's a really good beer. Thank you all for watching. I really appreciate it. And as always, embrace the adventure.